Hey y'all, what is up? All right, so I'm going to go here. I think my cat has separation anxiety, child. She's just up underneath me. Look at that. Look, she's so up underneath me. Say hi. Say hi. All right, y'all. So, if you got friends in the group, go and tag them. If you want to invite people in the group, go ahead and invite them. We are accepting applications. All right. Okie dokie. So let's talk about how to get over your ex, okay? A lot of people ask me this question, like, is there a way for me to forget my ex? Is there a way for me to, can you hypnotize me to forget my ex? And I'm like, no, I can't hypnotize you to forget your ex because you've already had that experience. So that experience is already imprinted on the brain in your subconscious mind. And also it is already encoded in your cellular memory. All right. So it's hard to forget someone that you've had sex with, that you've spent time with, that you've had happy experiences with, especially if you had bad experiences with, right? Very difficult to just flush those memories, okay? It would take a lot of brainwashing to do that. And I don't do brainwashing. Hey, Fifi. I don't do brainwashing, okay? Brainwashing is a whole different type of conditioning. You really need to be completely and totally broken down in order to be brainwashed. This is what happens when you enter into the military. They do a complete breaking down of the person to build you up to the type of subject they need you to be, soldier, whatever, okay? So when you go through that kind of a process, and even that is not as intense as some like torturous brainwashing techniques are, okay? Okay, so all of that to say, unless you went through something like that, no, you're not gonna be able to forget your ex, okay? However, you can pull your energy and attention and focus back to you so much that they tend to just kind of fade into the background and you're not even thinking about them anymore, all right? So who has the biggest issues with letting go of an ex or releasing a previous relationship? We call them physical sexuals. A physical sexual is someone who feels everything in the body. Their first priority in relationships is love, is sex, okay? And the relationship itself. That's a physical sexual. Now, an emotional sexual is someone that prioritizes their work, money, stability, hobbies, things like that, right? Relationships and sex usually fall at the bottom of that list. So, when we get into relationships, we tend to attract the opposite. A physical will tend to attract an emotional, all right? Which is good, it's better for that to happen, but sometimes you will also attract to emotionals, or you'll attract to physicals. Now, I'm a physical, I'm somnambulist, which means I fall more in the center of those categories, okay? Which means that I can move both ways depending on who I'm with. In some relationships, I tend to be more on the emotional side. In other relationships, I tend to be more on the physical side, but I'm in the middle, so I can kind of swing both ways, all right? But if you are let's say you're a 65% physical on a scale from 0 to 100, and then you attract, a 70% or 75% emotional, all right? That can tend to be kind of like this push-pull type of effect thing, because the physical needs and requires more attention, more time, more affection, more love, more touching, more sex, right? While the emotional is like, that's cool, but I'm not in the mood right now because I got to do all of this stuff over here. So this happens. This is where a lot of people kind of rub and kind of go up against each other like this, because you got one person fighting for the attention and the affection and the sex and the dates and stuff like that, while the other person is like running away because they want to handle their business and they're feeling like they're being smothered. All right. So the physical, when the relationship ends, tends to feel super duper rejected. They take the rejection really, really hard, and it usually takes them a longer time to move on to the next relationship. All right. Whereas you have the emotional, who is already expecting for the shit to fall apart anyway, because that's just how they entered the situation. They got their guards all the way up. They're very heady. They stay in their heads a lot. Okay. So they tend to intellectualize their emotions or their feelings. So if you're a person that is dealing with somebody who is like this, who is an emotional sexual, you may feel like this person never talks about how they feel. They never express to me how much they love me. And I just don't know what they're thinking from day to day. But really, they are telling you in subtle ways. They may intellectualize it. They may create a story. Hey, what are you doing? Sorry, y'all. She is doing. Did you just share something, Isis? Oh, God. She's laying on my keyboard. Let me just close it because I think she just shared something. Sorry, y'all. She needs so much attention. Oh, good, Fifi, you did good. I'm glad to hear that. Fifi is gonna be doing the Be Magic program at the end of August, so she signed her commitment today. That's awesome. So where did I leave off? Isis. She's doing the most since I've been back. She's been doing the most. But anyway, I guess I was gone too long, but she'll be all right. So what was I saying, y'all? I'm sorry. The emotional has been expressing to you how they feel, but they will tend to do it through duties or actions, right? They may buy you a lot of gifts. They may take you out on a nice date. You know what I mean? They may do a service for you. Okay. So we have to learn as an emotional, because as a physical, because I'm a physical. I'm somnambulist, but I'm more on the physical side. Like I said, I can swing both ways. But if I'm with someone who is an emotional sexual, who intellectualizes their emotions and stuff like that, I have to keep that in mind, that, okay, well, let me look at the other ways this person is showing me their love, right? So people tend to get into relationship struggles when they don't understand the other person's ability to express themselves. They don't understand how they are. So when I go through this with my clients who are coming in for like relationship issues and stuff like that, they're like, oh, okay, this makes sense. All right. So I'm not crazy. They're not crazy. They're not being an asshole, and I'm not crazy. This is just how they are, right? Okay. So the physical tends to not deal with rejection very easily. Okay. Meaning if they are wanting more time and the other person is not able to give them that time, the physical may run off and go do something, may cheat, okay, because they're trying to hurry up and get ahead of the game before the other person dismisses them or rejects them. They feel rejected, so therefore they're going over here to try to patch themselves up. It's in a toxic way, right? In a toxic way. And I ain't talking about nobody because, you know, listen, I get it. There's an eye roll. Not anymore. Not so much. Not anymore. All right. So anyway, the physical will run off and go sleep with somebody else, right? However, the emotional usually already has somebody else. Because remember, in the back of their mind, they're already prepared for the breakdown of the relationship anyway. And that's not in every single case. I'm just giving you like kind of a blanket thing because this theory runs deep. It's very, very deep. It's like a rabbit hole. Trust me. And I've been doing this stuff now for almost 6 years, and it's still a rabbit hole. I'm still like, oh shit, there's another level to this, you know? So this is very blanketed, and it's going to vary per person. All right, stay with me. I'm going to get to the part of how you get over your ex. I just want you guys to understand the science behind the behavior patterns of you and your partner, so you can find where on that scale you land. And I'm going to also put a link in here so you guys can test your sexuality. You and your partner can test your sexuality, and you can see where you are on that scale. And what it's going to do is it's going to help you get a better sense and a better idea of who you are in this relationship, because you vary from relationship to relationship. Your attitude, the way you behave, the way you think varies from person to person, okay? I mean, I see it in myself now. The person that I'm currently dealing with, I handle him in a very, very different way than I have handled the past guy that I dealt with, right? It is because of his energy. It is because of his experiences. It is because of where he falls on that scale, where I fall on that scale. We both understand, you know, what that means. So I deal with him in a different way. All right. He deals with me in a different way than he dealt with his ex and previous people he was with. Okay. So you're going to find that each person is going to bring out a different type of behavior, a different type of person. Each person I deal with, you know, in the past and in the future, if I deal with somebody else, it's going to be a different Shara that shows up. All right. It's going to be a different Shara that shows up. So with that being said, let's talk about how, I'm going to give you 2 scenarios, because some of you guys are physical sexuals, meaning you take rejection very hard, meaning it takes a lot of time for you to get over it, and it takes a lot of time for you to get into something new, okay? Then I'm going to give you some tips on how to do it if you fall in the emotional sexual category, okay? So that emotional sexual category is a little bit different. That's the one that can easily hop to the next person and be like, okay, cool, that experience is done. Let's go over here and do this. All right. Now, there's nothing wrong with that, but a lot of emotional sexuals tend to not really fully tap into what's going on mentally, emotionally, physically, because they are so heady, right? They're not really tapping into the rest of the body. All right. So I'm going to give y'all some tips on how to handle that. All right. Okay. So for you physicals out there, when your relationship ends, there are a couple of things you need to do immediately. One is you need to focus on yourself. Okay. And what does that mean? Every time you feel yourself thinking about homeboy or homegirl or whoever, you immediately pull your attention away from them, back to you, and keep your schedule full. That's going to work best for you as a physical, to keep your schedule full, to keep writing out lists and goals, and keep that in mind for yourself, because the whole goal is for you to come back to you. Because what happens with physicals who get into relationships is that once they fall in love, they tend to give it all to that person. They tend to give it all to that relationship. They throw everything into it, right? It doesn't mean that they don't handle their business. It just means that the business is no longer the priority. Right now, the priority is this person over here, this relationship. Okay? And when it falls apart, you're not really grieving the loss of the person. I mean, you are, but you're really grieving your expectation being flattened. Okay? Your expectation, your hopes, your dreams of what this could have been is now flatlined. So that's what you're grieving. You're grieving the loss of what could have been that you created in your mind. All right? I'll probably end up doing a class to go deeper into this in a little while. Once I'm done with the launch of Be Magic, I'll probably sit down and script out a class for this that'll be a little bit more in depth, because it is a lot to try to put in one live, right? But when you do that, the first thing you need to do is bring yourself back to yourself, okay? And only focus on you. That is the top thing that a physical can do. So for the emotional, who tends to move on really quickly, again, nothing wrong with that. However, if you are avoiding processing the emotions, the intensity of the previous relationship, and healing yourself, if you're avoiding that, guess what? It's going to come up again in the next relationship. Okay? So it's important for you to give yourself a little bit of space in between, all right? In between those relationships. It doesn't have to be months. It ain't got to be a year. Physicals tend to take months and years to get back into relationships. They do. Physicals can take up to 10 years to get back into a relationship, okay? But the emotional tends to jump. Like, oh, that ended, okay, boom. Because they probably already got somebody in their back pocket any damn way, okay? But my recommendation would be to sit with yourself and to make sure that whatever emotions and attachments and cords and things like that are removed, okay, in a loving way, so that you can move on to the next one without bringing that past energy into the relationship or into the situationship, okay? Because most people, their goal is to settle down and be with somebody. That's most people's goal. There's some people who don't want to do that. So if you're a person that don't care about doing that, and it's probably really easy for you to detach in the first place, you probably were detached the whole damn time anyway. Okay? But make sure you're with somebody who can also detach. Don't get into a situation with people who are looking for permanent attachments or long-term attachments, and you're not. You don't do that, because now you're creating a whole scenario, a whole situation that can be very, very stressful, that can be very taxing on both of you. If this person wants more from you and you know you can't give them more than what you're giving, right? It's taxing on both people. So just be very open and honest about what the fuck you want. Like, we all adults here, right? Just be honest about what you want. Okay? Because you just might get it. Even if that person wants an attachment, but they are digging you and you're like, I'm not really trying to settle down. I'm not here for any type of attachment. I'm just kind of here because I want to experience you and do whatever. That person may say, well, okay, cool. That means that I can go over here and keep dating other people while I'm having this experience with you, because maybe we need to have this experience for a reason. But I know how much to invest in this and I'm not going to put all my energy over here. I'm going to scatter my energy a little bit so that I'm not fully invested in one thing. All right? It's like diversifying your portfolio, only in dating. Okay? So, for the emotionals, make sure you're processing your emotions, not just in your head, but you're also processing it cellularly throughout the body. And most emotionals have a hard time connecting mind and body, okay? It's called, they lack they have a low ego sensation. That's what we call it in hypnosis, in the hypnotherapeutic community. That's a low ego sensation, which means that the mind and the body are not fully integrated with an emotional, okay? So when I'm working with people who are emotionals, I'm working with integrating mind and body, because your body has a subconscious mind as well, all right? And whatever is not being processed properly or healthfully the energy can get stuck in the body and create illness, okay? So you definitely want to make sure that you are processing all of that stuff. So let's go back to the physical sexual. The physical sexual, while you need to pull yourself back into yourself, you too need to make sure that you are releasing out of the body. While the emotional needs to connect more with the body, you need to bring yourself more into a logical headspace and also allow the body to process, okay? Because we tend to feel things more in our body. The physical does, all right? So the emotional processes in the head, but needs to come back down into the body. The physical processes most things in the body and needs to come more back up into the head, be more logical about it, okay? As well as allow themselves to release whatever was taken from that past situation out of the body. So again, cord removal is going to be beneficial for both physicals and emotionals, okay? You should be doing cord removal after every single relationship you release yourself from. That's just hands down. That should be the first thing you do. Everybody, okay? Giving back everything that they gave to you. You taking everything back that you gave to them. I have a whole class on cord removal in the Mind Magic Institute. It's very, very, very extensive. There is a hypnosis that comes with it. So if you have not done any cord removal, you need to do that. And it's not just a one and done thing. It is something that you will need to go back and repeat again and again, okay? For different reasons, different people. Sometimes stuff is going to pop up like a few weeks ago, as I was going through another process for myself, I realized that there were two guys that I didn't even think I had anything left. You know what I mean? I was like, I'm good, like whatever, like I can go out to dinner with them and we'd be straight, you know what I'm saying? But there was still some stuff attached there that I needed to go in and do some cord removal with, right? And so it's important, this is why it's so important for you to just sit with yourself and make sure you're always engaged with you and understanding where you are and being hyper aware of your frequency, tuning in to your emotional frequency, your mental frequency, okay, your physical frequency. You want to tune into all of it, pay attention to it, because it's always sending you messages. And you can get the answers just like this if you just sit long enough and ask the right questions, okay? So those are the two ways that I would recommend you getting over an ex, okay? Whether it's an ex-boyfriend, ex marriage partner, or what have you. Even business partners. Same thing with business partners. That's a marriage too. Okay, a lot of people don't realize that, but friendships, that's a form of marriage as well, because you have made you've made a bond with that person and you've made some kind of agreement with them, okay? So disconnecting cords is a way of you breaking that agreement. But you also need to go in and break any agreements and vows that you've made to that person, to yourself in that situation too. But like I said, that's a whole nother talk, whole nother class, okay? So it's very important to free yourself of those previous energies, okay? Here's another thing. Here's another thing that you can consider too. When you get into a new situation with somebody, it's also a good idea for you and them to cleanse and clear past energies. I did it with my guy friend. I was like, yo, before we do anything, right? You're going to need to cleanse, clear, cut, and release whoever you was attached to. And I'm going to cut, clear, and cleanse whoever I was attached to, even though I had already done that, because I do that immediately. You know what I mean? Just because I ain't got time to have nobody shit on me. You know what I'm saying? I just don't have time. For what I do, I need to be clear at all times as much as possible. So I'm constantly clearing, releasing, clearing, releasing, clearing, releasing. Because if I don't, it could be very heavy for me. You know, it could be very, very heavy and taxing on me. And that's another reason why my protections stay on 100. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, they just need to. So that's another thing that you can do. And if you do this regularly throughout the term of your relationship, what you will find is that it's very easy for you to release shit throughout the relationship. You know what I'm saying? If you continuously release, let's just say y'all hit a little bump, right? You need to disconnect the cords of attachment to that particular situation as well. Because when the relationship comes to an end, that since you've been clearing the whole time, you don't have as much work to do at the end of it, because you've been cleaning up. It's just like cleaning your house. If you deep clean your house at least once a month, the day that you move out, let's say you've been living in your house for 10 years, but every month, you know, you had somebody come in once or twice a month to deep clean your house. When it's time for you to move out, it's not going to be a whole lot for you to do. If you're constantly decluttering your house every 6 to 8 months, when you move out, it's not going to be a whole lot to move. It's not going to be strenuous. It's going to be like, okay. Because you've been constantly clearing, constantly disconnecting, constantly sending shit back, taking back what you know you gave to them and you ain't need to give it to them, and you constantly doing what you need to do with that, okay? There's things you need to do when you take stuff back. I ain't gonna get into all of that either. Like I said, this is, you know, I teach a lot of this in Be Magic, and it's also going to be in another class that I do, okay? So practice doing that with yourself on a daily basis for what you're holding, as well as what you share between you and your partner and in your own damn house. Because all of it's connected. So by the time it's time for you to get up out of there and leave, right? If that happens, because some people actually do stay together till they die. But even in death, you still need to release, because you got to make room for the new energy that's trying to come in, whether that's a person, whether that's a new pet, whether that's a new grandchild or whatever, okay? A new hobby, a new job or whatever. If you are still having your energy held up by another energy, it leaves no room for new shit to come into your life. Okay? That's the easiest way for you to get over somebody. Clear, cleanse, cut and release, cut and release. Detach, detach. And when I say detach, I don't mean shut down. That's not what I'm talking about. Release the attachment to an outcome. Allow. Be in flow. Be flexible. Fluctuate. Be able to go with however the shit is moving. If it's working for you, it's working for you. If it's not working for you and you feel like you need to get up out of there, get up out of there. Sometimes if it's not working, sometimes you got to sit there for a minute, right? Because something else is trying to emerge. Every hardship in a relationship doesn't mean that it's time to end the relationship. Even if you're getting your ass beat down, sometimes it doesn't mean that it's time for you to go. I'm not encouraging anybody to do that, but I do encourage you to sit with your spirit team and talk and find and sit with yourself to see what is the move here. What do I need to do here? What's trying to emerge? Because usually when you hit a bump in the road in your relationship, that means that there's something trying to emerge. It's trying to be rebirthed in some kind of way. It's trying to transform into something else. But if one of you is holding on and trying to keep it the same, that's when the rub and the resistance comes in. I just talked about resistance in another live that I did on my main page, right? Sometimes you got to let that catastrophe happen and just let the shit fall where it does and trust the process. But when you are able to be unattached to outcome, it makes it easier for you to just allow things to happen, okay? Which is why it's very wise for a person, a physical sexual who tends to be all in, kind of clingy, a little needy, you know what I'm saying, to still maintain a sense of self in the relationship. And always bring it back to you. If you feel like, dang, this person isn't spending enough time with me, I really wish I could see them more, I really wish they would put me first and make me a priority, then you need to make yourself a priority. Pull the energy back to you. And I'm only speaking from experience because quality time is a love language of mine. But I had to sit with myself and ask myself, why is that your love language? Why is quality time so important to you? It's not bad, it's not wrong that you want that, but why do you want it? And when I sat with why I needed it, it was connected to some shit back in childhood that I needed to go in and clear. Okay? So our love language is the one that we need to receive. Not the one that we give, but the one that we need to receive, and probably the ones that we give to, right? But I try to give whatever my partner needs. I'm not giving them what I think they need. I'm asking you, what do you need from me? Because I could give you what I think you need, but it may not meet your need, right? That's just like me inviting somebody to my house to stay, and I say, hey, what kind of food do you like to eat? They tell me everything they like to eat, but I go in and I buy whatever I want them to eat, and they may have an allergy. Or they don't want it. Maybe they'll eat it, but they're just like, I told her what I needed. Why'd you give me this? Right? So I don't really give from what I think they need. I'm talking to them. I'm asking them, what do you need? What makes you feel good? What type of stuff do you like? And then I'm adjusting myself to make sure that that's what I'm feeding them, and vice versa. Okay? But sometimes we have to ask ourselves, when that need is so like, why? I need it now, when it feels like that, why do you need it that much? There's nothing wrong with you needing that or wanting that, but why does it feel like it could be a deal breaker for you? If you don't get quality time, if you don't get gifts, if you don't get words of affirmation, if you don't get service, if you don't get physical touch, why is that a deal breaker? Why does that make you feel like you're lacking or empty? You would be surprised when you do that type of deep inner searching and dealing with whatever comes up. You'd be surprised how quickly the energy shifts and you end up getting exactly what you want, because now you don't need it as much. You're not focused on not having it. Now you know why you needed it, and you dealt with the reason why you needed it and however way you decided to deal with it, and now you don't need it anymore. So now that energy is able to come in, whether it's coming from that person or whether that person shuffles off and disappears and a new person shows up that is able to give you what you need. This is the power of releasing, letting things go, allowing. That's the power of being totally unattached to outcomes and just being focused on you. So here's another tip, and then I'm going to go. In relationship, whether you fall in the emotional or the physical category, right? Peep this. Whether you're married, whether you're just dating, whatever. That person doesn't exist until they exist. The only one that exists and the only one that matters is you in the moment. Doesn't mean that they don't really exist. Doesn't mean you can't still consider them and hold them in your heart and make plans and stuff like that. But this is the thing. Instead of you sitting there having them on your mind all day long, how about this? They're not there. They're not on the phone. They're not texting. They're not emailing me. We're not in contact at all right now. There's nothing bad going on. We're just not in contact right now. So how about I deal with the one that is present? And I just focus on what's in front of me, which is whether it's just me, whether it's just the damn air I'm breathing, whether it's the projects that I'm working on, whether it's me focusing on my clients or what have you. How about I just focus on what's in front of me right now? If when that person materializes in a physical form, whether it's through a phone call or a text message or email, or they show up, that's when, hey, now you can take up space in my energetic frequency, in my field, in my mind. Now you can take up space. But you don't get to take up space if you ain't around. This is how you constantly stay mind trained on me and only me. You have to do this. Some people will call it selfish. I call it self-care. And it ain't nothing wrong with being selfish, because most people are operating from a selfish place, which is why in relationships people feel this grind. It's like two bones rubbing together, because it ain't no more synovial fluid in between, right? It's just dried up, so everything is just rubbing together. But you can create more fluid, right? The body can actually produce more fluid, okay? The way you do that is by lightening up the situation. It doesn't have to be a grind. It doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be. Not when you energetically align yourself with ease and flow and reality and focusing on you. Because the more you start focusing on other things and somebody else and what's not there and the lack of and why this ain't happening and why that ain't happening, guess what? You're creating more of that experience. That's law of attraction 101. But if I'm over here and I'm just focusing on me, and I'm just focusing on my breath, and I'm just focusing on my projects, and I'm just focusing on growing my business and gardening and planting my garden and going to sit at the beach and just breathing and, working with my clients and doing my magic. If I'm just over here free flowing and in love with every single thing that I'm doing and in love with the process, right? Guess what I'm doing? I am making energetic deposits each and every time that match my vibrational frequency of joy, of lightness, of peace, of abundance, of wealth, of beauty, of life, right? Freedom. And those are deposits that are returning high interest, high rates of return. Giving up the need to control gives you more control. I know that sounds counterintuitive, but giving up the need to steer everything in the direction you wanted to go in actually gives you the most control. It gives you the power to create whatever the fuck you want. And sometimes you're going to create better than what you already had. But see, we're so attached to what we got right now, right? This gotta work. This gotta be the person. This has gotta be them. How about it's them right now? And what if they're there preparing you for something better, bigger, more in alignment with not exactly with where you are right now, but where you're going. I'm always like, listen, when it comes to love and relationships, the mantra that I love to say is, I am currently experiencing my ideal divine right romantic partnership in this moment, with my perfectly matched beloved in this moment, no name attached. Because it could be the current person that I'm with. That would be amazing. I think he's awesome. I think he's an amazing human and a great man, and that would be beautiful for us to keep growing and growing and growing. And yeah, I would love for that to happen. However, I ain't gonna stunt my growth, because if I could get something better than him, shit, bring it on. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna limit myself to that thing. So I tell my mind, I condition my subconscious mind and my heart space to be in constant gratitude for the experience of a lifetime. I'm having the experience of a lifetime currently in this moment with in this divine right romantic partnership with my perfectly matched beloved, divine masculine or divine feminine, whatever you choose, right? That's what you focus on. So instead of focusing on them, let's just say y'all break up. Instead of you focusing on them, why we broke up, why did it hurt so bad, why he do this, why she do that, oh my God, I can't believe it. You know what? I'm so grateful and so thankful that right now in this moment, I am experiencing my ideal divine right romantic partnership with my perfectly matched beloved. Say that just 3 times and see what happens. See how quickly you shift. Free game. Okay. All right, y'all. So, if you are not currently on the bemagicmethod.com wait list, go ahead and get on it. I think, did I put it in here already? Did I put it in here? I did. So it's at the very top of the comments. The links are. Be Magic is going to be lit. That's all I got to say about that. It's about to be lit because there's so much more that I have learned and put into this thing. It's just about to be lit. As well as if you need one-on-one time with me and you want to discuss the ways in which hypnosis can help and other services that I provide can help, go ahead and click on opendoorhypnosis.com. If you're a first-time client, meaning we've never had any sessions, one-on-one sessions together, then go ahead and schedule your free consultation appointment so we can chat a little bit about what your needs are, and I can kind of steer you in the right direction, all right, of what services you might want to try or start off with, okay? So I hope that this has been helpful for you guys. Go ahead and invite your girls into the group. Please make sure that there are ladies. This is for ladies only, okay? Natural born ladies only. I am not trying to be discriminatory, but this is the energy that we are sharing in this group is based on divine feminine energy, okay? Not masculine that carries divine feminine energy in a stronger way where they, identify with a feminine energy. This needs to be for natural born women, all right? Again, no discrimination. It's just the way it ain't gonna work for them. You know what I'm saying? It's just not gonna work for them in the way that is being downloaded into me and delivered. You know what I'm saying? It's just not. Even if you are a natural born woman that feels more masculine, it's gonna work for you. If you are a man that identifies as a feminine, it's not going to be that potent for you, okay? Because you're working with a different type of energy and intention. You know what I'm saying? Okay? So you definitely want to make sure that there are women that are coming into the group, all right? But I love y'all so very much. okay, Natasha, just hit me up. Okay. I love y'all so very, very much, and I hope that this was helpful. It'll be up in the group, so you can go back and listen to it whenever you want to. Like I said, I'm probably going to go do I'm going to do a deeper class on this, because there's some rituals that can also be helpful, and some other hypnotherapeutic and NLP techniques that will work for you as well if you're trying to get over an ex, or if you just want to have this information in your back pocket. You know what I'm saying? It is very, very helpful. As a physical, I can tell you that I have had struggles with releasing people in the past because I'm a physical, because I'm physical. And if they were highly emotional, it brought out more of my physicality. Whereas sometimes I've dealt with another physical, and they might have been a higher physical than me, meaning they tested at a higher level of physicality, and it makes me more emotional. So I tend to be the one that does this. Oh, I gotta work, I gotta do this, I don't have time. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Yes, ma'am. I'm gonna send that to you right now, Fifi. I'm gonna send it to you right now. So, all right, y'all. I will see y'all in the next video. I got some work that I need to get to because I laid down all day yesterday, child. I was done, just exhausted. Still trying to recover from this weekend, but I feel more like myself now. So I'm gonna send it to you right now, Fifi. I'm gonna send it to you in your in Messenger. Okay. Love y'all. Bye.